I'm wearing Hunter Orange today and bringing a firearm for safety. If we do, you will see them right now. Okay, so just parked the truck, geared up. We're about to start hiking into our hunting spot. I'm not going to be actively hunting today, but I'm going to be setting up some bait. So I got a 5-gallon pail here with me that's packed with danishes, donuts, pastries, things of that sort. So I'm wearing Hunter Orange today and bringing a firearm for safety. It is active black bear hunting right now, so there could be other hunters in the bush right now. And if I'm coming through the woods, if they see me in Hunter Orange, they're not going to mistake me for a bear. Also, the firearm, like I said, it's for added protection right now. If I were to, let's say, run into a health issue and I can't get out of the bush and I have to sit there overnight, at least I got this for some added safety and comfort. And then also, as I'm hiking in, if I were to, let's say, jump or surprise any bears, I'm not going to have any, let's say, hopefully dangerous situations as well. So starting, let's say, an aggressive bear or coming onto a sow or a mother bear with a few cubs could get pretty hairy real quick. So I don't want to have any unexpected situations that don't have a good outcome. Let's just keep it as short like that. So let's get moving and we'll see when we're there. So I made it to my tree stand. I'm just sitting up top to get a good idea of where I want to set up my bait. Right now I'm sitting about 17 feet high off the ground and I got a few different options. So near my tree stand there's a few fallen trees. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bust out my handsaw, cut some of the logs and use them as a crib. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set them up in a configuration and put my bait inside and then cover them with logs. So I'm going to make it sort of challenging for the bears to get to, but every time the bear comes into the stand I want to have a reward by getting some bait, or some donuts in this case. So I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so this is where I'm going to be setting up my bait pile. It's a fair ways away from my tree stand. I'll have to go ahead and take the true yardage once I'm up there, but for this baiting method I'm going to be using a crib method. What I'm going to be doing is putting, let's say, logs in a configuration similar to a sandbox, but instead of sand, I'm going to be putting bait in there. So my pastries, my sweets, the different types of lures that I'm going to be using to bring in the bears. Afterwards, I'm going to cover it with some logs, maybe some rocks, things of that sort. It'll keep the skunks, raccoons, birds out of it. And then when the bear comes in, the bear can move those items over and get to the bait. Every time the bear comes in, I want them to be rewarded. So I want them to get some bait. So by setting up the tree camera here, I'll be able to see when the bears are coming in, but then also if there's any bait left. I don't want this bait pile to ever run out. Depending on how fast the bears are coming in, I may have to make more frequent trips just to keep bears in the area. So by using pastries, the bears will, let's say, sugar up and carb up and almost go into, let's say, hyperglycemia, so they'll start to fall asleep with their insulin levels going high. So they'll bed by nearby, hopefully with the heavy pastries in their belly. So I just gotta make sure the bait doesn't run out and I can keep reloading it enough to get a bear. Depending if the bears start to get sugared out, let's say it gets too much on their palate, things of that sort, I'll switch my bait. I may go to trail mix, I may go to some cases meat scraps or even fryer oil. These are the logs that I collected. I'm going to show you how I'm going to set up my configuration. Depending on how successful this is or how bad it gets beat up by the bears, I may switch my method. One thing's for certain, I won't be using a 55-gallon drum, which is common for bear hunting. It's too much work for me physically right now. My body just can't handle that amount of stress without bringing in an ATV or a four-wheeler to the stand. So I may try to use this stand as a deer stand later in the fall, so I don't necessarily want to have too many bears here for too long. We're in August right now, and hopefully if I could down a bear in August before September, that'll give the area enough, let's say, time to settle down and cool down enough for the rut to start in November for the deer. Even though I'm huffing and puffing, this is still probably easier than carrying a barrel in on my back and trying to keep that bugger loaded with bait throughout the season. So, pack light, I'm bringing in a handsaw, small ones I use for my tree stand, instead of bringing in a chainsaw. It's just too heavy to carry for me. The bait pile alone was hard enough. Okay, here's the finished product. This is what my bait crib is going to look like for now. This is the first time I've ever built one, so if you have any suggestions on how to improve it, please let me know. More than welcome to hear some of your suggestions. I would have preferred to have a few larger logs to throw on top, but to be honest, there's just not large enough trees that are falling on the ground that I could cut with my saw. So since I don't have a chainsaw in here, this will have to do for now. I'm running out of daylight, so I want to get the bait in here and then maybe make some modifications to it as we see how it stands up to the bears. But I think I have enough logs, and this hopefully will keep the coons and the skunks and the birds out, and the bait will be able to get fed to the bears. So now I'm going to start throwing bait in. When I'm throwing my bait in, I'm going to be wearing latex gloves. The reason is I don't want to get any bait or scent on my hands and then go touch other things. So I still have to set up my tree camera, and I definitely don't want that smelling too good. I don't want a bear to find that, even though I'm going to be using a lock box on it and having it hopefully high enough where the bears don't see it. They can sometimes go ahead and rip off the antenna. So even when I go back to my tree stand and climb the ladder, I don't want to have the smell of bait on my ladder. I don't need a bear coming up the ladder or up the tree, right? So for bait, this time I'm going to be using a lot of donuts and pastries. I've been able to pick up quite a bit from a local supplier here. And I've packed that in pretty tight. So I know it's compact, but I'm going to spread that out. I'll probably have to come back probably a day, maybe 2 days, but this is some super sweet stuff, pastries. It'll fill up the bears' bellies, and a lot of pastries are used by other hunters for bait, because as I've researched and understand, the pastries will fill up the bear's belly. So they'll be sleeping, hopefully not too far, after filling up their bellies with donuts, bagels, danishes, all that type of stuff. Super sweet. So I got a pretty good supply coming down. So I probably will have another 50 pounds of donuts in the next 2-3 days. I'll come back, refill it again, and such. So that's just what I'm going to use right now. If a bear gets in here, he's probably going to take a pretty heavy chunk out of it, so that's why I want to keep coming back. I don't want this bait pile to run out, but I suspect it will. Hence why I'm going to be coming back often. So now I'm going to start covering it up. Also, for other baits that I'm going to be using, I will be using molasses. I'll be using Jello. It's pretty sweet smelling. And I'll be using vanilla extract to kick off this bait pile. What I'll do with the vanilla extract is I'll spray it up in the trees. It's a very sweet smell, and it'll carry a long ways. By spraying it into the trees, it'll absorb too without damaging the trees. And then with the molasses, I'll cover it on the ground, I'll cover it on the logs, so when the bears touch the logs, they'll get it on their paws, on their fur, won't harm them, but as they leave the site, they'll track it around with them as well. So if the bear gets molasses, or let's say some Jello powder on its hands, and it leaves, another bear may cross its track, smell the Jello, and then come to the bait pile as well. So it's a good way to get your scent out there, specifically the bait scent, so other bears can come in. Here's the Jello powder. Berry blue. I know you guys know, but like I've said before too, make sure to pick up your garbage when you're down in the bush. For me, everything I come in with, I leave with as well. A lot of the baits that I'm using are really cost effective. Jello's super cheap, I'm sure many of you know. You can get it, I think, like $1, $2 at your local grocery store. Donuts, check out some of your local bakeries. I wouldn't recommend possibly going to some of your larger franchises. Here in Canada, some of them, they just have a policy where they donate a lot of their soon to expire foods to food banks, which is a great cause. Totally support that. But some of their past dated foods they're unable to give to the food banks, and unfortunately they end up going to the waste, they go to the trash. So but due to some of their corporate policies, they're not able to go ahead and give it to the bear hunters like myself. You can get molasses from different dealers. Check out some of your farm dealers as well. For me, this is one I just picked up from our local hardware store. I didn't intend to buy this from the hardware store, just to be honest, it was 80% discount, so it expires soon. This one is buck or bear slop molasses. It's by Rack Stacker, and it's 1 gallon, so I probably won't use it all right now, just because if I could go ahead and ration this, see how this bait works right now, and if we need to apply more molasses, I can go ahead and see if that gives me a bit of a different trick later up my sleeve. This product, like I said, 1 gallon was $20 Canadian regular price, but I think I got it at like just over $4. So depending where you get it, it could vary in prices, but that's just what works for me. Okay, this is just a sprayer that I got at the same hardware store. I filled it up with vanilla extract. You can get this at Costco or some of your other food providers at discounts depending on the volumes that you get. It doesn't have to be vanilla extract exactly, it could be imitators as well, as long as it's just super sweet. I'm using just straight vanilla right now. I've seen different suggestions online saying use it as strong as you can, but if you want to go ahead and save on your budget, mix it with water diluted and still use it as well. So what I'm going to do, get this going. So you see, it sprays. So what I'm going to do, start spraying some of the trees that are nearby. And by doing that, that'll carry a long ways in terms of distance, and hopefully attract the bears. Bears have really strong sense of smell, and that's what I hope to take advantage of. A lot of people, they use fryer oil. Fryer oil, I should say. I know that's a good trick. I don't want to carry in that much oil. It's a lot of weight for me. So this will do for now. I still get a variety of different scents, flavors, smells. I'm starting off with sweet right now. I may change more savory, bring them some great bacon greases or some scrapped meats for the bears, depending on how they react to this stuff. I think this will hopefully bring in the bears. I'm pretty confident. I'm seeing bears in the area, as you can tell. And with the amount of berries that I have, I think, or at least I hope, that they'll respond to this sweet smelling bait and lure too. So if you have any comments, like I said, put them down below. Suggestions, more than willing to take suggestions and learn. So I got my bait pile set up. Now I'm gonna reset my tree camera that you saw me take down earlier. What I'm gonna try to do is set it up in this tree. I'm gonna stand on the bucket or the stump nearby, try to get it as high as I can, and out of sight, out of mind, hopefully for the bears. So they'll be distracted hopefully by the bait pile and the other scents around. I put on a fresh pair of gloves, so when I'm touching the camera, I'm not tracking any scent on it and sparking the interest of the bears. Okay, so bear season is officially open. Today is August 16th. Season opened up yesterday where I live here in Ontario. And it's 10 o'clock at night. I'm sitting out front in one of our local coffee shops in the city where I live. Reason is I am picking up a few donuts and expired pastries at the end of a shift change. So at the end of this shift change, basically I'm able to get 20-30 pounds of pastries that otherwise are just going to end up in the dump going to the trash. So these pastries, they can't be given to Goodwill and they're not able to be sold to the public. So literally I'm able to use them for bear bait. Hey everyone, welcome back. There's a little cub. I'm not sure where the mother is. I'm just coming around the corner right now on the way to my bear stand. And there's a bear walking down the road. It's definitely this year's cub. I don't want to scare it. Okay, let's try this intro again. I didn't expect to have to take a second take on it, but I'm happy to do so if I'm seeing black bears. As you can tell, the black bear that I saw was this year's cub. So it would have been born earlier in spring. And it's appropriate size and weight that it should be right now. So it's a very healthy looking bear. I didn't see its mother or the sow kicking around, but I'm sure she's not too far away. I didn't see a second cub, so I'm not sure if it's a solo cub or not. But it happily trotted into the bush and set up in some tall grass and was munching on some berries when I went by. So didn't disturb it. Didn't have any real issues with me besides just driving down the road. I'm not flying down, so I'm not really bothering it too much, I don't think. But today's mission will be to set up a bear bait. I'm going to be showing you a few different tactics and tricks that I will be using to hopefully harvest my first black bear this year. I'll be repositioning a tree camera to watch the bear bait so I can start patterning them and hopefully harvest one my first time coming out, but we'll see. Later on I'm going to be checking out the other tree stand that I built in the previous vlog. That's probably going to be just used for a deer stand this fall. I didn't draw a moose license, but it can still be used for deer. So later on this summer, we'll be setting up a tree camera there going into the fall to start patterning the deer at that site and hopefully replicate the success to come this year with black bear season. So we're almost at the spot now to park the truck, and when I start setting up, I'll tune you guys back in. So I'm almost at the tree stand right now. I'm getting to the last portion where it's filled with a lot of raspberry, blackberry, and blueberry bushes. I'm seeing a lot of bear scat, as you can see on the ground behind me. It's full of seeds, it's full of berries. So the food source right now definitely is sweet in the natural environment. So the bears are gravitating towards that. So I'm going to be using a lot of sweet sprays and sweet baits to go ahead and bring them into my tree stand. So let's keep going. So this is a stump that I set up on last year. I put a salt block on top of it at the end of the season just to see if I could have some of the wood actually soak up some of the salt and minerals. And you could clearly tell that the animals have been chewing on it, ripping it apart, going for the salt and the minerals. So that's a trick that I like to use when I'm in the woods. Set up your stuff on spongy, absorbent material if you're going to be baiting or using any scent lures. You definitely make things a little bit long lasting, and that was last season, and we're nearly almost 12 months up to that point right now. Got the bait pile there, tree camera in that tree stand right there. So here's one of my tree stand setups for my hunting season. I'm sitting at 17 feet high off the ground. I have my bait pile in front of me. To the right of that, I have a tree camera set up that's going to be watching the bait pile. On the left, I have a shooting lane cut that watches a game corridor. I have a salt lick there. On the right side, I also have a shooting lane cut that watches another game corridor. So we'll see how this year turns out. So that's going to wrap up today. I'm super pleased with how today turned out. I couldn't ask for better weather. It wasn't too hot. Wind was high. I was able to go ahead and set up my crib and reposition the camera without any real major problems. Won't be able to get to the other tree stand as I'd hoped today. Like I said, that one's more so for deer hunting, so it's not super critical just yet. But I'll stop by there later on this week when I rebait this pile. So with the trail camera set up now, hopefully we get some really neat photos and videos and start patterning the bears. So we'll find out what times they're coming in. Hopefully they're not nocturnal bears, and we could hopefully get some to come in the morning. So I'm probably going to be focusing more so on morning hunting, which will be a little bit more challenging instead of hunting into the late afternoon and evenings. But for my capabilities right now and my strength levels, I think dropping a bear hopefully before noon, before it gets too hot as well, I could be able to process it and carry it out on my back. So I'm probably going to be doing the gutless method this time instead of just carrying it out whole. So I'm excited to get this season rolling. So stay tuned, and we'll provide you with an update later on the season. Hey guys, welcome back. It's been roughly a week or so since I've been back to the bear bait in person to check on things. With the tree camera set up, I've seen a lot of deer come into the bear bait. They've licked the molasses, they've sniffed the trees that I've sprayed with vanilla and such, but I haven't brought in any bears yet. I'm still seeing a lot of fresh bear sign around here as I'm coming into the tree stand and into the bait, so it's just about a matter of time and switching up maybe my strategy for how I'm going to be bringing in the bears, whether it's going to be using new baits, scents, attractants, things of that sort. So right now we're just going to check in on our donuts, our pastries, all that type of stuff. Make sure there's no mold. Hopefully there isn't. I doubt there will be. In the past week, we've got a lot of rain, unfortunately. We've had a lot of high winds, so I'm sure that's also played a role in keeping a lot of the scents down and maybe washing away some of the molasses and vanilla off the tree. So I'm going to try a different strategy today. So all the bait's still here. We had roughly 50 pounds of pastries brought in last time. Things are still looking fairly fresh. Hasn't been hit by any raccoons or skunks, so the logs are doing their tricks. No birds have got in either, so I won't complain. The deer haven't been able to get to the pastries too. Not saying they would, but hey, you never know. So this time around, just to switch things up since I haven't seen anything on the tree camera, I'm bringing in, this is by Annie Logics Outdoors, Black Ops, Molasses, and Annie's, if that's how you say it. Everyone has their own way of saying that word. Attractant. So it says specifically for bears. I got this at my local Canadian tire here in Canada. I think it was like 20 bucks. A little bit pricey on the steep side for sure, but hey, we'll give it a shot. I'm having fun. I'm learning different ways to go ahead and bait and attract bears. So we'll see if this gives it any, let's say, extra oomph or power when it comes down to the bait. That's the product I'm going to be using, guys. Black Ops. Got at my local Canadian Tire. I'm sure you could probably order it online. Haven't used it before. Can't tell you that much about it, but we'll give it a shot. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to cover a little bit on the bait. Not too much because I want to use it on the logs like I did last time. Because I knew no bears had come in here, I didn't bother bringing in any new donuts. I didn't think there was going to be that much mold, so we're in good shape right now. Just going to go ahead and cover this stuff up again. That should keep the raccoons and the skunks out. This time I'm going to cover this up again with the molasses mix. Probably spread a little bit more on the ground. I have vanilla extract with me again, so I'll spray that into the trees. And this time, I even brought a little bit of grease. Not from, let's say, a restaurant, things of that sort. Just bacon grease, some ground beef that I cooked up anyways. Got roughly a liter of fat. It's pretty rancid. And I think from what I've read online and what I've talked to people about, that should probably withstand some of the wet temperatures that I have lately, or wet conditions I should say, not temperatures. And yeah, we'll see if those brings in the bears. This is the grease. Yummy. What the hell? I'll put a little bit on here too. Oh, that stinks. I've also seen a lot of people use fryer oil instead of this type of, let's say, just bacon grease from home. So I'm going to throw this up into the trees too. Woo. Okay, I got some more vanilla extract. I'm just going to spray this up into the trees. Just to hopefully, if there are any bears in the local area, they may just follow the scent trail back. So that's all I'm going to be doing for today. I'll probably check on the other tree stand. It's about 4 o'clock right now. The bears have heard me come in, hopefully. They get used to the sound of me coming in with the bait. I'll get out of here now, go check on the other tree stand, strap it down. I did get a chance to do it last time, so since it's nice weather, I got a lot of daylight yet, I can get those jobs done for the stand that I'll use for deer season later on. Okay, here we are. Finally, that tree stand setup is up. For those who have been following along, that's what it's gonna look like. I'm set up in a great big white pine. It's way wider than the tree stand itself, so it'll provide a good back coverage. I still have to cut down a few limbs and hang it from the front railing and side railings just to provide a little bit extra coverage. But brought a few extra ratchet straps I want to climb up top, secure a little bit better, and then I'll probably make one more trip later on this fall out here just to make sure we are dialed in. And then we'll set up a tree camera too, start patterning a little bit things as they get closer to the primary rut, and see how things go. So I'm sitting in the tree stand, and this time I'm not on the ground. I'm actually 20 feet above the ground. I'll show you what things look like from my point of view. So there you have it. That's what things look like from the top of this tree stand for this year. Depending on which end the deer come in on, I probably have anywhere between a 15 and 26, 27 yard shot. As the leaves fall off the tree, that distance may jump up to maybe 55, 65 yards. But who knows? We'll find out then. I'm near a swamp. I have a lot of food nearby. So I'm sure I'll get a chance to see a few different critters come by the stand. I still have to throw a tree camera up here too to start to pattern them too. But I'm excited to get things rolling. The weather's definitely starting to change as we find ourselves in the end of August. Daytime highs in some cases still hit 25, 30 degrees Celsius, but we're falling below 10 degrees at night, which is great. Leaves are just starting to change colors in some areas, so we're starting to see a little bit of red, a little bit of orange, nothing too crazy yet, but it's a sign for change. This week we have a few CAT scans to get done, and next week we find out if I have to have further surgery or chemotherapy, but we'll cross that bridge if it comes. But fingers crossed we're cured right now, and it's just a slow recovery from chemotherapy. But if things don't work out in my favor, then I'm still bound and determined to knock down that bear before jumping into chemotherapy. But who knows? My hopes are high that, you know, we're gonna have a really good, strong hunting season this year. I have a doe tag, so I was lucky to go ahead and get one. First time in like 6-7 years. So hopefully the stars align this year that I'll have a lot more meat in the freezer from the wild. There are so many blackberries out still. I'm pretty sure this is probably slowing down the bears at my area. The berries are just trampled by all the bears. So hopefully the bears can finish off all these remaining berries. In the meantime, I'm trying to help them out. We'll see how this goes. Does this mean I'm hungry like a bear? Good stuff. So this is what the bait crib looks like after the first night being hit by bears. Logs have definitely been moved. They were able to easily find the pastries. Half of it is probably gone, so it's good that I'm coming out tonight to rebait it. I'm gonna set this up, get out of here, and wait for more bears to come back. So as you could tell in the last clip, the bears have found the bait. Finally. Nearly 2 weeks have gone by since I've initially built this bait crib, and the bears have finally hit it. Great news. So the bears came in later last night, around 8:30, 9 o'clock. I don't think they're nocturnal bears, but they've easily found the bait. They've ate roughly maybe half of the food, which is fine. We're gonna restock it, and I'm gonna try a new bait today as well, just for some added variety, and to make sure I have enough bait here. So in the event that the bears do eat all the pastries and everything that's inside the crib, they'll be able to get some additional, let's say, bait or reward for coming into the stand. Another trick that I'm going to be using is I'm still going to be using the hickory smoked bacon bear balm. I'm going to get in the habit of using this every time I bait so that the bears can get familiarized with this scent and know that when this is in the air, there's new fresh bait at the pot. This time, for bait this year, I'm also going to be incorporating, it's by the Antler King. It's called the kitchen sink. Its slogan is everything but the kitchen sink. what we have in it is oat, wheat, corn, barley, peanuts, protein pellets, cotton seeds, roasted soybeans, shredded sugar beets, and black oil sunflower seeds. It's coated with molasses. That's exactly what I want right now. Still gonna be sweet, gives them a bit of variety. Not just the sweets and the donuts, but still hopefully a little bit of a texture and something that'll keep them here. So I'm gonna spread it out a little bit. I'll make a few piles, but for my type of bait when I'm using this style is to spread it out, make it a little bit more difficult for the animals to eat up. If I just make it in a simple pile, it doesn't look natural. It's a bit of an eyesore. Mind you, I am using a bait crib, but I like to spread it out to make sure that I could have more time if there's gonna be an animal coming in, feeding, and then I get an appropriate shot. I'm not gonna be panicking to say, okay, this bear's a target bear, we wanna take it down right away. I don't wanna take a bad shot, so I wanna, let's say, give myself ample amount of time and a really good opportunity to harvest the bear respectfully. I'm gonna make a few piles on the outside. If a bear can find a berry, hopefully he can find this bait. It's not too large, it's fine, it's granular. So even though I had some bears come in, I definitely had some more critters crawling around. I had a pine marten come back a few times to get some of the sweets. Had a lot of crows and had some turkey vultures too. So we're gonna cover up. I know some of the bears know that this is here now, which is good. Hopefully this will keep some of the other animals from coming back. If they get some of the bait on the outside, that's fine. I'm not gonna lose any sleep over it. I ran out of vanilla extract last time and I wasn't at Costco. So next time I come out, I'll make sure to bring vanilla too, because that's what I sprayed in addition to this stuff. So that's all we're going to be using the bear bomb for right now. We're going to pack up, we're going to make our way back to the truck, and hopefully tonight we get some more pictures and videos of the black bears. So if we do, you will see them right now. The bears are still hidden in the bait site. They're just visiting it in between the showers. And over the past week, we've had some colder temperatures too. So I think that's starting to influence a little bit more bear engagement at my bait site, with some of the berries dying off and other food sources starting to get a little bit more strict. Bears obviously know they have to get ready for the hibernation, and they're gonna really start throwing on that extra layer of fat. So at the bait site, we definitely have sows coming in. Haven't seen any targeted boars yet, but one of the sows comes in. She brings her 3 cubs in with her. That's the only sow that I'm seeing with cubs. They're cute and all. So this year I won't be targeting any sows. I know some people find it very hard, and this is my first time harvesting a bear. So hopefully I'm able to go ahead and have the right eyes to scope out a decent boar, a mature boar. So this is what's left of the bait crib after about 3-4 days of not being here. A bear was here last night cleaning out, picking up everything. But you could tell all the donuts are gone, all the grain, all the mixed feed's been taken out as well. They've licked everything clean. So it's a good thing I'm out here today. Bears were here, like I said, just last night, and we could get this bait back up and going. So while I'm out here, I'm going to be changing the batteries on the cell camera. That's the tree that the camera was set up behind me. It was on the bait pile, but unfortunately my batteries have been burning out a lot faster than I expected because of high winds. So the high winds have been wrestling the trees, wrestling the leaves, and causing a lot of triggers on the cell camera specifically. So I've been getting a lot of photos, but in some cases not of any bears on the bait pile. So to hopefully extend the life of my batteries, I'll adjust the height of the cell camera in the tree. I'll lower it, still focus it on the bait pile, and if all things go well, I'll have a better angle for imaging, but then also I'll be able to avoid a lot of the false triggers. For batteries, I'm just going to be using the Duracell Optimum AA batteries. This camera takes 12 AA's. That's the cartridge that you load in order to fuel the cell. There are solar panels out there. I've thought about getting one with an extended antenna as well, but I'm not 100% sure if I'll have the hunting season this fall. And if we end up having to go through chemo and surgery, then possibly I'll look at maybe investing in that source next year. So we have the bait pile loaded, camera swapped out, new position on the camera. We're gonna start making our way back to the truck now. And the best hunting in this circumstance will be from the couch. Hope everyone has a good Sunday. And good luck with your NFL picks.